When Val Kilmer died of pneumonia at the age of 65 on April 1st, 2025, it marked the end of a talented artist whose life was beset by illness, deep emotional scars, and plenty of family strife. When Kilmer was 9 years old, his parents Eugene and Gladys got divorced. He didn't know anyone else going through the same thing at the time, so it made him feel like the odd kid out. As he recalled to The Telegraph in 2004, "It was obvious to me at the time that this was the biggest thing I'd been through. It was seen as what it was, an odd event, that something bad had happened." Val and his brothers lived with their dad after the divorce, even though he didn't exactly have a close bond with his father. There was also serious strain between him and his older brother Mark, especially when they butted heads over their dad's estate after he passed away in 1995. According to Mark, Val has no example in his life of a good relationship he can look to. The siblings remained estranged for some time, but following Val's throat cancer diagnosis in 2015, they reportedly began to put their differences aside. As a source told Radar, Mark is a well-regarded psychologist, so he doesn't see eye to eye with Val's Christian Science beliefs. It has caused a rift between them in the past, but now they're finally getting closer again. Val Kilmer wasn't estranged from everyone in his family, as he was much closer with his younger brother Wesley, who died tragically in 1977. Wesley had epilepsy and he suffered a seizure and drowned in a spa while the Kilmers' housekeeper was on a quick shopping trip. As Val later recalled to The Telegraph, "My little brother was just an amazing artist, a genius. When he died, the people at his funeral, the adults and children, it was amazing. They were all friends of his. I was sort of in awe of him." Wesley was an aspiring filmmaker, and Val believed that he could have been the next George Lucas or Steven Spielberg if he'd had the chance.
He spent most of his time making art and remaking the films he loved most.
As Val set out to achieve his own dreams, Wesley never left his thoughts, even using his name to check into hotels when he started to become famous. While shooting the 1988 fantasy movie Willow, Kilmer and his co-star Joanne Whalley fell hard and fast for each other, tying the knot just months after their initial meeting. Alas, this whirlwind romance wasn't meant to last forever. 8 years later, Kilmer was watching CNN in his hotel room while filming The Island of Dr. Moreau when he was shocked to hear the report on TV that Whalley had filed for divorce. As he later recalled to The Telegraph, "It's a really weird thing, modern divorce. I found out I was getting divorced on television. That was kind of weird." Despite the split, Kilmer made sure that his and Whalley's 2 children, Mercedes and Jack, wouldn't be as negatively impacted by divorce as he was. As he explained to The Telegraph, "It's more normal to be divorced now. It's not seen as something bad now that parents just love each other differently and say the things that counselors teach them to say when they don't know what to say to their kids." Body positivity might be widely encouraged nowadays, but it was practically non-existent decades ago. And Val Kilmer bore the brunt of that cruelty, including the time in 2007 that the Daily Mail published the headline, "Val Kilmer goes from Batman to Fat Man." But then in 2012, that all seesawed when Kilmer was criticized for appearing too thin. As reported by TMZ, one day he realized that he wasn't happy with his health, so he took steps like eating clean and increasing his daily movement to get back on track. He also eventually became fed up with the criticism of his body, so he released a statement on Facebook explaining that he also needed to achieve a slimmer physique to play Mark Twain in a film that he was writing and directing. As he put it, "Can't win in this crazy town. Too heavy for too many years, and now gossip says too thin." Kilmer found himself in significant financial predicaments on numerous occasions, including in 2011 when his ex-wife Joanne Whalley took out a lien on his 5,328-acre New Mexico ranch after he failed to pay $27,500 in child support. She had previously taken out another lien in 2007 on his home, though the situation was resolved the following year.
If that's what the court order says, then that's what I'll do.
Then in 2013, Kilmer had a $500,000 lien filed against him after a company called Executive Consulting claimed that he hired them in 2011 to assist with his financial woes, and that he never paid them the agreed-upon rate of $128,000. He also endured some self-inflicted tax issues, with the IRS filing a lien against him in 2010 after he neglected to pay $500,000 in federal taxes. In 2015, Val Kilmer's life was changed forever when he was diagnosed with throat cancer. He initially had no plans of seeking conventional medical treatment due to his Christian Scientist beliefs, instead insisting that he could heal himself through prayer and working with a so-called Christian Science practitioner. However, his children convinced him otherwise, and he agreed to undergo surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. Kilmer was eventually declared cancer-free, though there were some significant lingering after effects, including a feeding tube and a voice box to help him speak. Despite the efforts of his medical team, he held fast to the belief that his own prayers were what cured him. As he told the New York Times in 2020, "That treatment caused my suffering." Still, these new challenges weren't all bad, as Kilmer tweeted in May 2022. "When one thing is taken, though, another is given. With little voice, my creative juices were boiling over and pouring out of me. I started creating again, painting, writing anything I could. I felt the art healing me." During his cancer treatment, Kilmer underwent a tracheostomy, which permanently damaged his voice. As he explained in the 2021 documentary Val, he could no longer talk without plugging the hole in his throat, which meant that he also had to choose between breathing and eating.
It's an obstacle, obviously, that is the present.
Nevertheless, Kilmer found new and creative ways to communicate, largely thanks to the AI voice platform Sonotic, which was fed hours of audio of the actor speaking. As Kilmer explained in a statement, "As human beings, the ability to communicate is the core of our existence, and the effects from throat cancer have made it difficult for others to understand me. The chance to tell my story in a voice that feels authentic and familiar is an incredibly special gift."
I can bring these dreams to you and show you this part of myself once more.
Even with these difficulties, Kilmer was able to reprise his role of Iceman in 2022's Top Gun Maverick. His diagnosis and the after effects were written into the script, with Iceman ultimately dying of cancer. In 2017, actress Kathleen O'Heaney came forward to allege that Val Kilmer had assaulted her in 1989 during pre-production of the movie The Doors, which starred Kilmer as Doors frontman Jim Morrison. During an audition for the part of Morrison's girlfriend, Pamela Courson, a role eventually secured by Meg Ryan, O'Heaney was asked to read a heated scene between Pamela and Jim, and she claimed that Kilmer hit her in the face. As she recalled to BuzzFeed, "When I got to the room and Val Kilmer picked me up and shaked me, throwing me down to the floor, director Oliver Stone just stood there the whole time laughing. I went down to my car and I cried for about 20 minutes. However, casting director Risa Brayman Garcia remembered things differently, telling BuzzFeed that Kilmer never struck O'Heaney in the face. He did pin her to the wall, though, but according to Brayman Garcia, this was part of the scene, and O'Heaney was told about it before the audition began. As she insisted, "It was way blown out of proportion. I am not somebody who takes this stuff lightly. I can tell the difference between something that's abusive and a moment that got carried away, but it was all in the context of work. It was a very extreme reaction to a situation that to me was not extreme at all." From Cindy Crawford to Angelina Jolie to Cher, Val Kilmer's lineup of famous ex-girlfriends is quite lengthy. Alas, despite this once vibrant dating life, he revealed in his 2020 memoir, I'm Your Huckleberry, that he hadn't been in a relationship for 20 years, while also admitting, "The truth is, I am lonely part of every day." Though each breakup came with its share of heartache, his split from Daryl Hannah was the worst by a long shot, with Kilmer admitting to crying daily for more than a year after they parted ways. As he explained, "I know I would love her with my whole heart forever, and that love has lost none of its strength. I am still in love with Daryl." Hannah eventually ended up marrying singer-songwriter Neil Young in 2018. Meanwhile, Kilmer maintained a strong friendship with Cher, whom he dated in the early 80s and who helped him through his cancer diagnosis. As he revealed in his book, once Cher works her way inside your head and heart, she never leaves. For her true friends, her steadfast love and loyalty never die.
Only sometimes you're only meant to stay with someone so long.
Right.
And Val was like, he was really young.
In the midst of his heartaches and health struggles, Kilmer also had to wade through some more quotidian indignities. One of the most iconic roles of his career was, of course, Iceman in 1986's Top Gun. But that blockbuster action flick could have ended up very different. As Kilmer revealed in I'm Your Huckleberry, he initially wanted nothing to do with the film, as he admitted. "I didn't want the part. I didn't care about the film. The story didn't interest me." But Kilmer's agent pressured him into auditioning, which the actor tried to bomb on purpose. As he recalled, "I read the lines indifferently, and yet amazingly, I was told I had the part. I felt more deflated than inflated." Eventually, Kilmer started to feel much more warmly towards Top Gun. In fact, the tables turned more than 3 decades later when he was upset to learn that he wasn't being asked to return for the sequel, Top Gun Maverick.
You do it again? Sure. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
This time, instead of doing everything in his power to not get hired, Kilmer went above and beyond to bring Iceman back to the big screen. As he explained, "I'd not only contacted the producers but created heart-rending scenes with Iceman. The producers went for it, Cruise went for it, Cruise couldn't have been cooler, and the next thing I knew I was back, as the Beatles said, where I once belonged." Kilmer took on the mantle of an iconic crime fighter when he starred in 1995's Batman Forever. It was a hit at the box office, but its leading man was noticeably absent from the follow-up Batman and Robin a couple of years later, with George Clooney taking over as Bruce Wayne. That was because Kilmer and director Joel Schumacher clashed during production, with Schumacher describing the actor as childish and impossible and the most psychologically disturbed human being I have ever worked with. And Schumacher isn't the only one of Kilmer's colleagues who felt that way. Early on in his career, he had quite the unfortunate reputation, with numerous directors coming forth over the years to reveal their negative experiences. For example, Island of Dr. Moreau director John Frankenheimer once told Entertainment Weekly, "I don't like Val Kilmer, I don't like his work ethic, and I don't want to be associated with him ever again." Some of Kilmer's alleged bad behavior included burning a Dr. Moreau cameraman with a cigarette, ordering everyone on the set of 1997's The Saint to not make eye contact with him, and firing a prop gun while filming 1993's The Real McCoy after a disagreement with the director. Kilmer addressed his reputation when he told The Telegraph in 2004, "If I'm demanding, which I don't think I am, it's for the good of the picture."